And singer, of course. And she's now starring in a hit TV show on TV Land called Younger. This is the one and only Hilary Duff.
Hello.
It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
The show has done extremely well and much talked about, really, because it's a great premise. The premise of the show is that Sutton Foster plays Liza, and Liza is 40-ish and gets a job in the publishing firm, much younger, yes. Becomes her friend. Right. And the fourth season is now starting.
Yeah.
And the big news, of course, is at the end of the third season, Liza came clean to Kelsey,
about
right?
How old she actually is.
Right. Yes.
So she gets a job in publishing, acting as a 26-year-old.
Right.
And so this season's interesting because it's a lot more dramatic than the others. In that we all are kind of at odds with one another.
Right.
Kelsey's found out Liza's secret, and she is floored by it. You know, I think she's really angry.
So she's betrayed, kind of, right?
She's betrayed.
And that's a really interesting concept because Liza is still the same person, mm-hmm. right? But she hasn't been honest with her friend, right? That's really the essence of because it's not like they don't like each other. Besides the age thing, right?
Right.
They get along.
Yes. I honestly don't think it's the age thing. I think it was the lie. I think that Kelsey has been so understanding of Liza and had her back through so much, and it just has cheapened together now.
Right.
You know, all the trust they put in one another, because I think Kelsey feels like if Liza had have told her age from day one, she would still feel the same way about her.
Well, that's the interesting question, isn't it? If she was not a contemporary and she joined the firm, would they have been friends? And it's I think that's why the show's interesting.
Yes, I do
because
too.
they probably wouldn't have been friends.
I think it depends on how people come together, you know, and what they bring to the table in the very beginning of a relationship. Like, one of my best friends is 47.
Well, I was going to ask you if you have a relationship, a friendship relationship with an older woman.
Yeah, she's my neighbor, and she's wilder than I am. Like, she's just a whole bag of fun, and I love her, and she's my dear, dear friend now. Uh-huh. And she goes out with me and my friends and hangs, you know, whenever. Like, but when I met her, that's her essence.
Yes.
You know,
you weren't fooled by her, right?
No, and if Liza still has the same essence, then I think that they would have been. Yeah,
but that's one of the things the show explores, and really what the show is about is relationships between women. Mm-hmm. Really, that's what it's about. And of course, it's been called sort of a millennial Sex and the City, partly because Darren Star created both of the shows, and it does have elements of that, but it's more basic than that. I mean, it is about friendships and connection and, you know, being real with people.
Right.
Kind of.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And ageism, you know, we really deal with ageism on the show on both
levels. Yes. Yeah. Because the Liza character sort of is dismissive of millennials a little bit, right? And their interests, kind of. And, you know, and she can't get a job because she's considered too old, which is also crazy. Right. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it all. Like, that's definitely what we're dealing with. Also, Liza dating a younger guy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, I feel like, judgment in the world about that right now. And, you know, that's the constant struggle. Is like, is she going to be with the older guy who makes more sense for her? Is she going to be with the younger guy who loves and accepts her for who she is and brings out a little more fun? Yeah.
Well, he does find out about her age before Kelsey does.
Yes.
Right?
So he's held the lie for like a whole season.
Right. And he's accepting. He
yes.
isn't at first
he's fully
accepting. But he's accepting of it.
Yeah.
But then he sees her with the older guy.
Yes.
And that sort of blows his world up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liza's being kind of a bad person right now, to be honest with you. Like, the lie starts out innocent, but then she's kind of like experiencing all this new stuff, and she wants her cake and to eat it too.
That's right.
And you
she's
can't
in
really
very
do that.
deep. She gets in very deep. The thing about it is, of course, she also has a college-age daughter.
Yes.
Right.
Who blows her cover all the time.
Right. And she's much closer in age to Kelsey than her mother is. So there's all kinds of very interesting relationship things that are going on in the show, which was based, I guess, on a novel.
Yes.
So, you know, someone had this idea. It sounded like when I first came up with it, sort of like it would be sort of broadly played, but it's not. It's not broadly played. It's played for real. You know, like it's comic. There's comedy in it for sure.
Yes, I like to call this like a dramedy.
Yeah, but there's a lot. Yeah, it's not unlike Sex and the City that way. Right. Yeah. So how did you get involved, Hilary?
Darren called me up and said, "Hey, I have a job for you. Like, I have this role that I think you'd be great for. I want you to do it. I want you to read the script." I was like, it's not every day Darren Star calls you up and says, I want you. Yeah. So it was amazing. I feel really lucky, and I love the show. I love the character. I feel like Kelsey's a very relatable character.
Well, let's talk about Kelsey. What's your take on her?
This season has been the most fun for me to play because she's dealing with a little bit of an identity crisis. And you get to see kind of what a girl boss she is. Like, she's fierce. Yeah. And the seasons before, she was a little dippy and a little like, I think you questioned how deep she really was. And like her choice in guys were like not great. All over the place, yes. All over the place. And she still struggles in that area. But I think that's relatable, you know, sure, and I think that her in the workplace, it's been a lot of fun because no one's taking her seriously, but she is the most successful one there. Yeah. And she's like, what do I have to do to be taken seriously? I'm making this company all this money. Right. You know, you keep thinking I'm going to fail. Everything I touch turns to gold. Right. What's it going to take for you guys to listen to me? Yeah, to take her seriously. Yeah. She's ambitious. She's ambitious. But she has her own struggles. That's sort of... Well, she can't... She's got a bad picker with men. She can't... Yeah. She can't figure that one out. But that's unfortunately not uncommon. Yeah. But she's... You know, she's got basically a positive nature. Yes. You know, like, I think she's appealing. Yes. You know, but it's an interesting thing to put her in this position of power, because now that gives her another whole layer to play. Right. You know, so did you want that kind of mix of like a character that had complexity? Is that what you wanted? Is that what you were looking for? Yes, of course. I mean, I'm really happy with the turn that they've like given Kelsey, where I'm having more room to explore sides of her that aren't so one-dimensional. One-dimensional. Yeah. But I think that's what happens with a show, right? Like every season, the writing gets better and the characters get more defined and the layers are being peeled back, and the actors understand the characters and the writers. Right, and there's just a comfort with all of us, you know. Yeah. So I think that's always the goal, is to work on something that you feel is going to. That you're going to love showing up to work every day and getting a little bit of a challenge or something. And you shoot it here in New York. We shoot in New York, which is a challenge in itself. Yeah, but has its pleasures, right? Totally. Yeah. I mean, this is such a great city, and I honestly feel like it's one of our secret weapons to making the show look the way it does. Yes, of course. It has that feel. Yeah, and gives it an energy. You couldn't replicate that somewhere else. Toronto? No, I don't think so. No. Yeah. Well, you know, because you have had an explosively successful career from a young age, right? You were a star when you were a teenager, young teenager. First as an actress, then as a singer. How does that inform you as an actress? Like, I mean, other people don't really make it for a long time, and they sort of work along. Has it made you a better actress because you had that in your background? Do you know, or has it been a challenge? I don't know if it's made me a better actress. I think sometimes it doesn't hold me back, but I have to work a little harder to not make obvious choices because I feel so comfortable on a set. Yeah. It's done things. You know what? Working with Molly, who plays her friend Lauren on the show, is such a talented actress. But she's still learning things like how to hit her mark all the time, or terminology that they're using that I just know. You've known since you were 13. Yeah. Right. So it's really interesting because she makes choices that I would never make, that I'm like, God, you are so brilliant, you know? But like, she doesn't have some of the other things figured out. She needs to learn. Yeah. And those things can just happen easily, but it's so second nature to me. Yeah. So I feel like there's a comfort that I have on set, and sometimes that's not always a good thing. Yeah, because you can get comfortable. You need to challenge yourself all the time. Yeah. You know, I've interviewed a lot of actors who were
successful as young people like Neil Patrick Harris and Giovanni Ribisi and recently Rupert Grint. And, I said, a lot of kid actors, their lives blow up, their careers blow up. They don't, and what would be sort of the secret? And basically what they said, you just have to stay grounded. Yeah. Sort of, if you lose that, you can't keep expanding, playing parts with range because you're going to narrow it. And it sounds like you have looked for that.
You know what? I've taken a lot of pauses when I've needed to. Just like, okay, I just toured for 4 years and done.
Right.
Over with. Gotta take
step back.
Yeah. Gotta take a pause. And when I had my kid, took a pause.
Right.
I don't feel the pressure of like what I used to feel when I was younger, that I needed to I couldn't say no to anything because then that would be given to someone else, and then and I don't. My life has expanded in such a way that other things bring me so much joy as well as my career. Yeah. And
that's grounded. Yeah. Exactly.
I have a little anchor tattooed on my foot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my little reminder to
that literally grounds you.
Those feet on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously your singing has been hugely successful, and you've had albums that sell 5 million copies or something, so it's spectacular. But it sounds like you're more committed to acting now.
I'm not more committed. That's what's in my life right now. And I put a record out 2 years ago, and that was really great for me. I hadn't recorded or written in such a long time. Like, I needed to purge myself of that.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't willing to tour with the record and do what I had to do.
All that, yeah.
And because of my kid, and
he's young.
He's young. He just turned 5 in March.
Right.
So I don't want to miss that time. I don't want to say I'm never going to do it because it's such a part of my life.
Right.
It's such a soothing thing for me to write and to record and be in the studio, and it is very fulfilling. But I don't know I don't know how that will ever work again, at this stage when he's so young.
So I don't want you to give away the season, but what is this season about? Like, what would you say the 4th season's about? Without saying, so-and-so gets involved with so-and-so.
Right.
Because of the revelation, it has to have a new turn.
I think that a lot is happening. So Kelsey is figuring out how to deal with Liza. And it's not just based on the hurt level. She's also integrated
she could also out her.
Right. She's, who? Kelsey?
Kelsey could out Liza.
I think Liza's thinking that she's going to out herself. And I think Kelsey's like, you're going to ruin my imprint and everything that I've worked hard for.
So she doesn't want her to be outed. Yeah.
She doesn't know.
Yeah.
I think she doesn't know. She's taking a pause. And she's like, how am I going to deal with this?
Right.
Also, her and her best friend Lauren are kind of at odds because she got kicked out of the house because her boyfriend took over her room. And then Kelsey's new boyfriend didn't want her staying there because he thought she was trying to move in. There's a lot happening with poor Kelsey right now.
She has to find a new place.
Yeah, and the one person that kind of understands what she's going through is Josh, who is the ex broken up with Liza right now. And so, they've never really had a chance to even have a friendship because Kelsey's been so hardcore in having Liza's back with anything that ever went wrong with them that, they definitely are relating to each other right now, which is cool.
Yeah.
And that
he's kind of still in love with Liza, right?
You have to watch to find out.
Well, he was at the end of the season.
You gotta watch the show.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We take a lot of we take a lot of trips during the show, which is amazing to get out of New York. We go to Vermont and we go to Montauk, and there's a lot of fun that happens mixed in with the heaviness of all these decisions that Liza and Kelsey are having to make. There's definitely new love interests that come in, but the base of the show is still about how to navigate friendship.
Yeah, well, as I said, that seems to be the core storyline.
It is.
And obviously there's so much more to tell. You have a 5th season committed already.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think it's rare right now to do a show, it starts out with, I guess, not that high a profile and then explosively hits, and you're going to have a 5-year run. So it's kind of a testament to how well it's come off, right?
Oh, thank you. We have great writers in our cast. I really do think that we are just in the groove right now, and they keep writing stuff that's interesting too. what's going on in the world. Like, we deal with a lot, like, Liza's best friend Maggie's a lesbian, and she's like this lipstick lesbian artist that lives in Brooklyn, and like my best friend Lauren is totally bisexual, and she's like in a relationship with a great guy, and all Kelsey wants is to be in a relationship with a great guy, but Lauren doesn't want to be with a guy because that's boring. Like, it's like this, like, some of the stuff that happens is so crazy and so watchable and so current.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, and very New York, too.
Very New York. Very New York.
Absolutely.
Sometimes my dad will be like, what happened this week? I'm like, Dad, don't watch this week. Just skip this week, okay?
Steer him away from a few episodes of season, yeah. Well, congratulations on that, and looking forward to the season.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. It's great to meet you and talk to you.
Nice to talk to you. You're listening to